Today I'm going to be drawing myself in 6 different styles, and the styles are just going to be based off of series that me and my family watch.
This was a very kind of interesting video, at least for me. There were some parts where there was some interesting lighting that kind of happened, and then it was an interesting period of time this video took, because this video took so long. Anyway, before we get into anything too crazy, let's just start with the first one.
So as you can see on the top part of every one of the little rectangle squares, I left a gap so that I could write in each of the names of the cartoons or movies.
So right off, we start with my style, and here we go with an interesting, ugly title. I don't know what I was doing. It's quite sloppy handwriting. Anyway, starting off with something interesting. Also, I had a hard time finding what size to draw in the box to fit it right, so I kind of played around with that. It was also really weird drawing myself because I part my hair in a specific side of my head, but then drawing, it's on the other side, because when you look at yourself in a mirror for years and years, you think it's a specific way, but it's actually the other way. So that was weird. So I also felt like this challenge was, at least with a part of drawing myself 6 different times, it was really good kind of learning what looked like myself the best, because there's some people that say oh, you know yourself more than anybody else, at least for drawing yourself, and I think, at least for me, that's totally wrong. I find it way easier to draw other people than to draw myself. Oh wow, that hair looks not very good. So in the end, I decided to put a light, it seemed kind of plain, so I just put a light around myself until I realized I didn't like it. So what did I do? I decided to do the one thing that I thought was best, which was to start over. So I cut a piece of paper and slapped it on that bad one. And I'm so glad, because this one was one of my favorites. Alright, so for this one, I decided to do more of a close-up view of this drawing. Oh, that's so weird. I have no memory of this, but I sketched something out that I liked on another piece of paper, and then I copied it. And then for the line art, I used a thin black pen and then darkened or thickened lines in certain areas. I also like how I did the hair much more than the one I did in the previous one. Okay, so this is where it starts to get the interesting long period of time that this video took that I was talking about. I started the previous bad drawing during the end of September, but I didn't start this one until October 15th. So I don't know if you've noticed, but in this one I drew myself wearing braces, because I just got braces a few days before I started drawing this one, so yeah. I think I also lost the footage of coloring, so sorry about that, but kind of need to keep this video going anyway. So for this one, it's actually a new recent show that we started watching. It's Phineas and Ferb. I actually started watching this show when I was really little at this babysitter slash friend's house that we went to a lot. I could go into a whole conversation about them, but to try to make it short,
when I was really little, we didn't watch the TV channel at all, or have anything like Hulu or Netflix or Disney Plus. So we could only watch things recorded on discs. So I never watched the show at my house at all, but we stopped going to the friend's house when I was 9. So my other 3 siblings didn't even remember watching Phineas and Ferb. So just actually a few months ago, I accidentally ran into a conversation with a friend about the show, and then a little bit later, one day I was alone with my brother, little brother Jay, if you remember that from my older video. We wanted to watch the show, but we didn't know what to do. And I was just like, hey, do you want to watch this? And I was like, sure. So we started it, and my brothers got hooked on it, and my sister, and now we watch it like every day. And we also love all the songs that they sing. So yeah, hope that wasn't too confusing.
Anyway, so this drawing wasn't too difficult to design. In the show, the main characters have very distinct shapes to their looks, but the other random characters look a little bit more human and kind of detailed. So I tried to make my hair the most interesting part, but yeah, I kind of like how it turned out. And the line art was really scary because it's just one line, you have to make it perfect, but I think it was okay. I did have to darken it a little bit later on parts of it, but the coloring was so weird because I kept wanting to add some highlights or shadows, but I don't think the show has it at all. So it's just one flat color, so that was interesting. I had to control myself. Also, it was really nice with the colored line art that my brother gave to me on my birthday. I actually made a video of it in my Christmas birthday art haul video. And then I drew the classic Phineas and Ferb title on the thing. Originally, I was just gonna do a simple, writing, but I decided I wanted to dress it up. So this next one is Pokemon. We actually haven't watched this show in a while, but when we did, it was when like XY and XYZ series came out, and that one is my favorite out of probably, well, I haven't seen all the series, but like the other ones are kind of just like meh. But we watched it on Netflix, and it's so disappointing because Netflix, I think, got rid of it. So we can't watch that series anymore. I don't know where they'd have it else, but anyway. And I chose the pose from a picture I saw of Ash. So Ash was doing the pose. And because this is Pokemon, it's about Pokemon, so I had to draw myself holding one of my favorite Pokemons that I would love to have if I lived in that universe, and that is Sylveon. It's kind of cute, kind of scary, I guess you could say, and people's hair in the show are really interesting. So I made my waves a little bit more sharp and in my hair a lot longer. And again, I had to do the thin lines just of black, I think. And I didn't have an exact reference of like the shading of the shirt, so I kind of just had to make it up. And I actually am really happy how it turned out. The shading was a little bit more scary because it's, I forgot what type of shading. There's like two shadings. I think I do the cell shading, which is more of softer blended shading, but this one was like the hard one. I forgot what it's called, but I think hopefully you know what I'm talking about. And the highlights on the eye really added a lot to it, like it usually does. Alright, so for this one, I decided to write the title first instead of the drawing. Turned out kind of wonky because the main writing is like sort of curved, but I had to write it straight anyway, so it kind of sloppy. It's Gravity Falls. So actually this one was one of the ones I was most excited to do, but the design was definitely a little bit more tricky, I guess, because if you have not seen Gravity Falls, there is a character named Wendy. I would say kind of looks like me, I guess, a little bit, but I don't want it to look too much like her. Her face is definitely a lot more pointy than mine, so I tried to make mine a little bit more wider, I guess, but I still feel like in the end it still looks like her. Even my family said that too. I mean, the hair is definitely a little bit different, but it is funny because in the show, like, her hair is parted the same direction as mine. The hands were really funny to do because they're definitely a lot more simplified in the show, so they're kind of noodly looking, so they're kind of strange looking, but yeah, it's how it looked in the reference I was using. And then I was super disappointed with the coloring because the first 3 drawings, the marker didn't bleed that much at all. Like, it stayed in the lines really good. But for some reason, these bottom three, I don't know if it was just the paper was different on the bottom, but they kind of bled a lot more. So like for the shirt, it ended up bleeding into the arms. So it definitely did not look that much crispy looking. Yeah, and then the show doesn't usually have any shadows or highlights on the characters. So that was flat again. But yeah, I think I would like to redo this one. Try to change it a little bit. Wasn't my favorite, but it's fine. Alright, hello. This is me quite a few days after the last recording of, the last section of the video. Right now I am sick. At least I am recovering from my sickness because I had a fever. Anyway, so you get to hear what my voice sounds like when I'm sick. Alright, so Avatar. This drawing is of Avatar The Last Airbender. The show is quite popular right now. I found a cool bending pose on Pinterest that I took. Yeah, anyway, this series actually has been with our family for quite a lot of years. So this is definitely my favorite show, probably out of all of the other four. And then this one is also definitely the most complicated. This one in my style. I know there's when I watch other people do this drawing challenge, they say oh well, the simpler styles were actually really hard too. But no, for me they were quite easy. At least for me, I don't know. The Phineas and Ferb and Gravity Falls was way faster and way easier than this one, the Pokemon one. This one took a long time. And since this show is about bending, I had to, of course, draw myself as a bender with my water element, because I would love to be a water bender. I think it would be really cool if, when I think of Celtic people, I think of, Irish, Britain, stuff like that. Think of definitely water and Celtic. So I think that would be really cool if in the Avatar universe there was, instead of just the water, Antarctica tribe, there was also a Celtic tribe. So that would be cool or not just a tribe, but anyway, the hair was definitely kind of hard. I had no idea really what I was doing, so it kind of looked a little bit of a mess. Didn't quite plan out the shading that well. I changed my face many times. And the hands, I love the hands. They're very dainty and kind of long in the show, and that's definitely one of my favorite styles of hands. I love it. I also changed up my outfit to match the culture of the show, so I changed my pants into this tunic looking thing. I don't know. And then again for the shading, it was that crisp hard shading, but it kind of ended up looking kind of softer. Oh yeah, and this was really annoying. I found my working gel pen. I have another one that does not work at all. But it only was working on my hand for some reason. It worked great on my hand, but then when I do it on the paper, nothing would come out. So apparently this was a hand gel pen. I don't know. So I just decided to move on to the next one. So sorry, but you cannot see the highlights for a little while. This one is not a popular series at all, but we watched this a ton until Netflix again took it off, and they replaced it with another Littlest Pet Shop series that we haven't tried because it looks not that good. I don't know. This one was definitely a lot different than the other ones, as you can probably tell. Yeah, and I made that shoulder like a little lopsided. Yeah. And then, here are the lips. I do not like drawing lips. At least tiny ones. They're not fun. And the hair was my favorite part of this whole thing. It's very fun and kind of, I don't know. And the coloring of the eyes in the show, they definitely have very light colored eyes, so I made mine a light green. And I feel like this overall style looks very illustrative. To me, it looks like it could be in like a children's book. I don't know, it's really fun. So, yeah, I definitely enjoyed doing this, especially the outcome, even if this did take like 4 months to complete. But I hope you enjoyed watching. Goodbye.
What do you think? Whoa.
Oh! And that one's so cute.
Which one's your favorite? I really like the Avatar. Wait, was there any way that you can make this look like less Wendy?
I don't know.
Wait, let me look at you. Oh. Okay. Feel like this looks like you. Cool. Feel like this looks like you. I just feel like the face is so like. Oh.
That or this?
This.
Oh.
Not you. I feel like this kind of looks like young you, but I still feel like it looks like you. And I feel like this looks like you, just almost like a Wendy.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
I sound like Felicia. Okay, thank you.